I finally took the leap and got myself a Mode Designs keyboard, more specifically the Mode Sonnet. The Mode Designs keyboards are up there with the most well-known premium keyboards, and rightly so. A whole bunch of configuration and material options, 2 mounting options, and the ridiculously high build quality really sets it apart from most manufacturers and keyboards. I was torn over what to cover in this video. I've reviewed a lot of budget keyboards, but you can't review a premium keyboard in the same way you review a budget keyboard. Premium keyboards cater to those who aren't bothered about wireless capability, angle adjusting feet, or RGB. It becomes entirely about quality and preference, not getting the most bang for your buck. If you're buying a premium keyboard, you'll know what you like in terms of the aesthetic, materials, mounting style, typing sound and feel, and you'll be looking to build a keyboard to tick all of those boxes, as I have with this one. That's what makes the Sonnet a true premium custom keyboard. You have all these configuration and material options, and you have the 2 mounting options, so you can make it look, sound and feel exactly how you like. In this video, I'm going to focus mainly on the mounting options, typing sound and feel, and the aesthetic. So first let's have a look at the 2 mounting options. The first option and the mounting style I've opted for is top mount. Top mount is when you screw the plate and PCB to the top case. While the connection between the plate and top case is a solid screwed connection with no movement, the placement of the connections around the edge of the plate is similar to a gasket mount with no support from underneath, so you do get flex depending on the PCB thickness and plate material. The Sonnet is an isolated top mount, meaning the plate material and the case material are isolated from one another by silicone caps. This doesn't create movement like silicone or boron gaskets on a gasket mount keyboard, as there's not much thickness and it's not a floating fit like gaskets. It just isolates the plate from the case, I assume to get rid of case reverberation like the force break mod. Top mount is the mount to go for if you want some flex and a more bouncy typing feel. The second mounting option is the stack mount. I didn't buy the silicone base which is needed for this mount and is bought as an optional extra, so I can't comment on it from experience. What I can tell you is the reason I didn't buy the silicone base for doing the stack mount, which is because the stack mount is supposedly the more solid feeling of the 2 mounting options. The PCB basically lands off on a silicone base, and because of how firm silicone is, I think this will feel similar to the tray mount, perhaps just a little less harsh. Next, let's hear the typing test before we talk about the sound and feel. I'll show you the keyboard with and without a PE foam sheet under the switches, and in both configurations I had the plate foam installed. Now, as you will have heard there, without the PE foam sheet, this one sounds exactly how you'd expect a premium keyboard to sound. It's just really clean and poppy sounding and has kind of a dense isolated tone to it because of how heavy and dense the case is. With the PE foam we get the richer and deeper sound, often referred to as the creamy sound profile. This is more to my taste, although I am torn with this one and finding that the Sonnet brings out the purist in me and is making me think long and hard about running no foams at all. The top mount is absolutely exceptional and has more flex and movement than some of the gasket mount keyboards I've used. It's the first top mount keyboard I've had, and I'm astonished by just how much flex there is, especially considering this is a 1.6mm PCB and one of the stiffer plastic plate options in the FR4. It just goes to show just how much of the movement you get with gasket mounts is from flex, due to the placement of the mounts with nothing hindering the PCB from below, and not so much because of give in the gaskets themselves. There's absolutely no doubt it sounds and feels quality, and I'll be looking much closer at top mount keyboards going forwards. Finally, let's talk about the aesthetic. People give the 75% layout a hard time for some reason, but I think it looks great and is the most useful layout without going 1800 or full size. I do prefer not having a mess of number pads sticking out the right hand side of my keyboards where my mouse should be, so this is a really good layout for me. The top case is aluminium and you get 7 colour options when it's all in stock. I went for grey. The top bezel of the top case houses the accent, which has 10 colour and material options. I went for the black accent, and I've got no idea why I didn't go for the copper one looking looking back. The bottom case is where things really get interesting for me. You have 8 colour and material options, and what interested me the most was the solid brass and the solid copper options. For me, it had to be copper after seeing it on Alex's stream, and I couldn't be happier with it. It is by far the standout feature of this keyboard. I love a heavy metal external weight, and Mode Designs took it one step further by making the whole bottom case an accent. The copper also makes this an extremely heavy keyboard, which is why I went for the black aluminium internal weight, as it just didn't need any additional weight. In my opinion, a nice and much less expensive option for the bottom case would be the polycarbonate one, and this has the added benefit of being able to see the internal weight through it. Now quickly before we finish, I just want to touch on price. The Sonnet is very accessible for a premium keyboard with base options for as little as $300, but if you go to town on some of the more premium material options and extras, you're looking at over $700, which is getting up there given you still need stabilizers, switches and keycaps. I went for the Staebies V2 stabilizers, which are around $25 for a set, the Akko Radiant Reds to match the colorway, which are a nice set of budget switches, and the GMK Sunset Surfing base and alternate alpha keycap sets. All in, my build ran me €980, or a little over $1,070 including shipping and taxes. I do have to say that shipping costs to Europe are ridiculous with Mode Designs. It should have been $100, but I spent over the threshold to get half price shipping at $50. The only complaint I could find on this keyboard was the fact that the keycap puller doesn't fit the keyboard it comes with on the 1-unit top case cutouts. And while I say that a bit tongue-in-cheek as it should have no bearing on whether you buy this keyboard or not, it is kind of silly that it doesn't fit. I always think the best way to give an honest opinion on a keyboard is to say whether it's worth the money and whether I'd buy it again. The Mode Sonnet is expensive but worth every cent of the $1,070 it cost me to get it into Spain, and while I probably won't buy another Mode Designs keyboard until the shipping is a bit cheaper, I certainly don't regret buying this one and would buy it again if I woke up and it was last month again when I didn't have the Mode Sonnet sat on my desk. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.